Okay guys, welcome to TubeKIT Alpha. What I want to do in this video is just cover some settings, some basic settings, and give you some tips on how to get the best out of using the Alpha SEO tools. Now, all of our tools have the same kind of interface. What we've actually done is built a framework that we use for every single Alpha tool. So if you've got tools like Video Synth Alpha or VidAttack Alpha or Livestream Alpha, etc., they've all got the same kind of design. And how it works is we have these tools over here on the left hand side. Okay, these are like plugins that fit into the sort of main framework of the UI or the user interface as we have designed it. Okay, and always in the top right hand side you will have similar kind of features over here for the home tab to add some YouTube accounts, a downloader for videos from YouTube, a place to add proxies, and some settings as well. Okay, so where we'll start right now is in the settings. Now, in every single one of the Alpha tools you will see similar settings, but they're not always the same. Okay, sometimes we will have things not there, and sometimes we will have some extra things depending on what we need to do with this particular tool that we're working with at the time. Okay, so this one, for example, has got the VPN settings. Okay, now this is interesting because when we are working with YouTube, often we will get flagged if we are logging in from an unusual location. Okay, sometimes you can get around that with double verification on your telephone, etc. But if you do not have double verification, then often you're going to get flagged from logging in from an unusual location. So the VPN option here, which is kind of unique, I think, for this tool and just this one and VidAttack Alpha that we have, the VPN settings. What we actually recommend to do is use HMA, which is hide my ass. Okay, but you need to use the required version from this button that is here. Okay, that's to download the specific version that the software will work with. Okay, the software cannot work with the latest version. You need to choose this version, install it, and then the software can work with this one. Now, why this is important is because of some of the tools that we've got within TubeKIT you might want to use for the purpose of sort of bulk SEO stuff, or you might want to use just a lot of different channels, but you don't want to have to try and remember which proxy you use to log in. You can assign permanent proxies. For most people, it's very expensive to use these permanently assigned proxies, whereas if you just buy like a license for Hide My Ass, for example, then you can just get the tool to use the IP from whatever country you want to log in from. This can also be beneficial if you got, say, for example, some virtual assistants in different countries like Philippines, for example. Okay, usually when they're creating those accounts, they will create them within their own country with a Filipino IP. Okay, when you try to log in, you might get a flag immediately, and then you have to double verify with which email or which telephone you had signed up with. The easy way to get around that is to use the HMA, set your location for Philippines, and you should be okay that way. Okay, so that's why we've added this in. So this is really useful, specifically for this tool, because we are using YouTube channels to optimize videos, to optimize our channel videos in bulk, to optimize via translation, and all that different kind of stuff, playlists, etc. Okay, so we rely heavily on virtual assistants at, at various times in our internet marketing journey. So usually we've all got a whole bunch of accounts that have been created by people, maybe even on Fiverr.com, where you need to understand where they have logged in from to be able to create those accounts from, so that we can use the VPNs. Okay, so that way it's going to be very quick and very easy. What I will do as well, I will build in, at some point, I will build in a place where we can, maybe in here in the column, somewhere here where we can just remind ourselves what country we log in from for any particular Gmail account. Okay, so that way you don't forget, and that way you can just maybe click a button and get the HMA to assign that country before you start working on it. Maybe we can automate that so you don't make any mistakes. Anyway, the rest of the settings, they're quite self-explanatory. For the YouTube API, in the members area, there is a button that will take you to a step-by-step document on how to set up your YouTube API. You need YouTube APIs to be able to work with this tool. Okay, so we've done it in step-by-step document, and probably you'll be able to follow that along very, very quickly, very, very easily, but probably you can get a virtual assistant to do that, and maybe even get someone on Fiverr.com to do some for you as well. Okay, it's not hard, you just got to do it once or twice and it becomes a lot faster to do. Okay, Captcha Solver, there's multiple choices in there. I don't want to click on there because I've got my API key there. Text spinner, you can put in for any of these, best spinner, word AI, spin rewriter. Just put in whatever it's asking for, specifically for whatever tool you are using. Okay, so most of these are really pretty self-explanatory. The indexer, whichever one you're using, you can put in the API key. That essentially will help you to backlink your backlinks. Okay, so that can be pretty useful at times as well. Now, what we can do as well was with the social poster in here, if you're probably wondering what we're using the indexer for. With the social media poster, we can send any links from any post you've made in social media over to the indexer and to the pinger. Okay, so if you want to use that, you can. If you want to not use it, it's entirely up to you. There are other alpha tools where we use the indexer and ping it a lot more than what we will do with TubeKIT Alpha, okay, because this is really an on-page kind of optimization tool with some extra sort of built-in automation for unique on-page and traffic sort of strategies using translations and stuff like that as well. Okay, so what we can also do in here is we can add in our Moz API key. It's a good idea to go and get a free Moz API key. I change mine often as well. I just go and regenerate quite often so that I've always got a fresh one. The idea here is that when we are doing some competition analysis, that we will get some information back. Now I haven't put the Moz API key in here right now, so I'm missing some information like the page authority for these particular videos that might be useful. Okay, some other things that we can find out from the Moz API key is how many backlinks, for example, these videos I've got. We can get some of that information from Moz as well. Okay, so it's a good idea to get a free Moz API key. The exact link of where to get that once you are logged in is inside the member area as well, so you don't have to go searching for it. Okay, one other thing I should mention up here, if you want to add in any new licenses, depending on where you bought TubeKIT Alpha, you might have bought a front end with some OTOs, then you would put in each license for each purchase. If you purchased the front end and an OTO1 and an OTO2, for example, in any alpha tools, then you would put them in this section up here. This is where it says new license. If you put in an OTO license and you don't have the front end license, you're going to be missing some tools. Okay, it's only going to reveal the tools according to the license key you put in, so you need to put in all the license keys for each upsell that you have bought. Okay, here we can switch the proxies on and off, as I mentioned, and here we can enable scheduled tasks. So if you got something like the social poster, for example, that you have assigned to post 4 videos a day into your social accounts over the next 25 days, you would need the scheduled tasks enabled so that it would work. Okay, and here as well, what we can do, if we in the YouTube accounts, for example, we can save our accounts into our documents folder here. When you go to save anything with any of the alpha tools, you will notice it opens up the documents folder, and you will notice as well that any alpha tools that you've got installed on your computer are going to be listed here. Okay, so what we would do is we would look for TubeKIT. Okay, and we can create new folders. Okay, so I can create a folder and I can call it YouTube accounts. Okay, just abbreviate that for speed, and I'm going to put YouTube accounts 1 marketing, for example. Save that in here. Okay, you will see some updates to these core tools over the next few days after we have first released the software. The reason for that is we always update stuff for the first few days. Okay, when we're using the tool a lot, when we're getting really intense with the actual building of the tool, we've focused on that really for about a week or 10 days after we have released it. So we release when it's good enough to release, and we just keep improving it over the next few days, and you know, tweaking and making it better and better and better. And then, you know, eventually we have to go and update some other alpha tools, but we're also monitoring, and we've also I'm always making notes of any updates and any tweaks and any additions that I want to add to any of the tools as well. Now, I do know, since we have built this, that we have got a more updated version of many things within this particular tool, especially for the account creators, so that we can save some profiles according to what niches you're working with, for example. So you might have profiles for clients, you might have profiles for niches, you might have profiles for different things. Okay, so you would have a different set of accounts specifically for that. So we have actually got a better management system than what you can see here for this, so that will be updated. Same with the competition analysis, we've got a more updated version of this. All of that will be added over the next few days. Okay, so that's all I want to cover for the settings. Everything is really self-explanatory. If you do get stuck on the settings, you can send an email in, but most of this stuff is really simple. There's nothing difficult about the settings stuff, and once you've got all that set up, then we can start to use these tools over here. So that's what I will start on. From the top down, we will cover all of these tools. Okay, thanks.